Meeting for planning matters for the Corporation of the Municipality of Central Elgin, March 9th. And first up, appointment of Committee of Adjustment Secretary Treasurer. Any questions? Get a mover and seconder for that motion? Oh, I'll let Delaney read it.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, through you to Council, this would be a housekeeping item to formally appoint Emerald Osterberry as the Secretary Treasurer for the Committee of Adjustment, given that she's now our planning coordinator. If there are any questions, I'm happy to respond.
Any questions? Mover and seconder? Councillor Griffin, Councillor Bachman? All in favor? Motion carries. And next, this is a public meeting as required by the Planning Act to provide an opportunity to provide input with respect to a proposed minor variance at 510 Lower Spring Street, Port Stanley, and 43850 Sparta Line, Municipality of Central Elgin. Does any member of the committee have a disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. What method of notice and when was the notice given for the public meeting?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, through you to the committee, as per requirements of the Planning Act, notice was mailed by regular post to every owner of land within 60 meters of the subject land at 510 Lower Spring Street and applicable agencies on February 27th, 2026. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff and also posted to the website.
Okay. If the applicant or agent is in attendance, please come forward to explain the application.
It's just a small.
I'll get you to just tap the mic there.
Hi, James McLean, owner of 510. It's a 1920s building. It's been there before any of us were around, and we're trying to make it a take it from being a three-season cottage that I purchased in 2013 and have virtually done nothing to it, so it's very vintage, and we wanted to renovate it to be able to use it throughout the winter. It's basically grandfathered footprint we're trying to respect, and we're adding, hoping to add turn the attic, square it off, and be able to add a few rooms where the attic was. And we've actually shortened the building from the west side by 6 feet. We were just trying to square off a corner. So the actual only addition on the footprint is 54 square feet. So it's just a little corner. We've been obviously well consulted with the pre-consult with the planning committee, who've been very helpful. And we've had obviously Kettle Creek involved. We've done geotechnical surveys. We've had the geotechnical engineer sign off on the footings that were being done and any other adjustments we've done, obviously, and we have all the other requirements from structural engineer reports and so on.
Okay, thank you, James.
Okay.
Have we received any submissions regarding the proposal?
Mr. Chair, correspondence was received from the Kettle Creek Conservation Authority confirming no objection to its approval and that the subject lands are affected by natural hazard regulations under the Conservation Authorities Act, whereby written permission is required of KCCA prior to any development.
Okay, the floor is now open for questions from members of the committee. Does the committee have any questions? Okay, the floor is now open for questions from members of the public.
Hi, Joe DeLosa, 508 Lower Spring. We're on the east side. So just a couple of questions, James. I noticed that there is a firewall going up. Could you provide some more information around that firewall? Will there be any digging or excavation on that side of the building to support that? And then also have just a question about, second question about drainage, where you're planning on putting the downspouts, as well as if you're planning on any mechanical at that side of the building. So for context for the committee, there's 4 feet between the buildings. So it's a very, very narrow space, and just going to get an understanding of what's going on the east side of the building. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, sure, James, if you're able to come up and answer some questions.
Do I look at you or him?
Yes.
With respect to the firewall, it's obviously up to whatever the code is. There'll be no windows, no mechanical, nothing that will jut to the east. And the footings have been replaced already with the cement posts, piers. And so
those were done on the inside?
yeah, inside, nothing's gone outside. So it'll actually, the wall will come in just a little bit because the LDL will run and then everything will be centered over that. So we're just having to make slight adjustments because nothing was square or centered. And the mechanical room, actually, there's no furnace. It'll be just.
Is there air conditioning, or I know it's not.
Nothing.
You don't have gas. It won't be.
I don't even have a gas line, so it's all electric. So there's no gas. It will be.
But you're not going to be installing like propane tanks or anything?
No, it's a electric heat pump. Okay. So, and they're all inside wall units. You know how they, and yeah, you won't hear a thing on your side at all. So, sorry, did I answer? What was the other question?
Just drainage.
Okay, so well, right now the existing downspouts all are, as you know, go into the corrugated plastic piping. So we're going to actually clean that up, and they won't be corrugated; they'll be straight. So we're running that. We're also creating a swell on the west side. That's why we took the building back a bit. So yes, we're absolutely respecting all the drainage that goes under the building and creating enough. We're not changing any of the, what do you call the orientation of the hill or anything to that effect. So the way we have it right now, it'll be exactly the same. Yeah. So there's, yeah, I could, if there is a fellow on council that's looked at our drainage plan and approved it, but if you have any more questions for him, I'm happy to pass on that.
That would be great.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, James.
Good.
Is there any further questions? Okay, seeing none, everyone has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. Is the committee prepared to make a decision or reserve its decision? I feel the committee's ready to make a decision. All in favor? Opposed? Motion's carried. Okay. Anyone wanting to be notified of the committee's decision should contact the municipality. Thank you, everyone. Okay. And moving on to 43850 Sparta Line. And what method of notice and when was the notice given to the public for this meeting?
Mr. Chair, as per requirements of the Planning Act, notice was mailed by regular post to every owner of land within 60 meters of the subject land and applicable agencies on February 27, 2026. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff and also posted to the municipal website.
Thank you. If the applicant or agent is in attendance, please come forward and explain the application.
Okay. My name's Jeff. It's my daughter's place. We're just gonna build an ADU unit out there to help her support family and stuff like that, just to, create another house availability for somebody else in Central Elgin. I think all the permits and everything was sent in. Jesse from MP sent all the permits or paperwork, I should say, for all the surveys, Kettle Creek, all that stuff, drainage, all that stuff was sent in to them, I believe.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. Have we received a written submission regarding the proposal?
Mr. Chair, correspondence was received from the Kettle Creek Conservation Authority confirming no objection to its approval.
Okay, the floor is now open for questions from members of the committee. Seeing none, the floor is open for questions from members of the public. Okay, and seeing none, everyone has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. Is the committee prepared to make a decision or reserve its decision? I trust that the committee's ready to make a decision. All those in favor? Motion carries. Those wanting to be notified of the committee's decision should contact the municipality. This meeting of the Committee of Adjustment is adjourned at 6:10. Okay, zoning? To afford any person an opportunity to make representation with respect to a proposed zoning bylaw amendment for 460 West Edith Cavell Boulevard in the Municipality of Central Elgin. Does any member of the committee have a disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, what method of notice and when was the notice given for this public meeting?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, as per requirements of the Planning Act, notice was mailed by regular post to every owner of land within 120 meters of the subject land and applicable agencies on February 17th, 2026. Notice was physically posted to the property by municipal staff and also posted to the municipal website.
Thank you. Mark Andrews, planner, is present to explain the proposed zoning bylaw amendment. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you. So through the chair and members of council, so the application tonight, the public meeting, is to rezone a portion of the subject lands in order to permit the removal of the existing dwelling and to facilitate the construction of a new single detached dwelling, specifically a year-round dwelling. Right now it's an older seasonal cottage. So the effect of the proposed zoning amendment would allow the subject lands to contain a year-round single detached dwelling, and a holding provision is also being recommended to demonstrate that the municipality is satisfied with lot grading and drainage upon the final approvals.
Okay, thank you. Have you received any written submissions on the proposal?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, correspondence was received from the Kettle Creek Conservation Authority confirming no objection to the approval and that the subject lands are affected by regulations under the Conservation Authorities Act, whereby written permission is required of KCCA prior to any development. KCCA staff participated in a prior consultation meeting regarding the subject amendment and can confirm that staff have no concerns with what is proposed to support the existing development on the subject lands.
Okay, the floor is now open for members of council if they have any questions. Seeing none, the floor is open to members of the public if they have questions. And seeing none, everyone has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. Any person wishing further information on the action of council regarding the passing of the bylaw on the proposed amendment should contact the municipality. Any amendment to the bylaw will be considered at a future meeting of council. This public meeting is adjourned at 6:13. Welcome. This is a public meeting as required under the section 2.7 of the bylaw 0465 dangerous dog bylaw respecting the designation of Zoe, a female dog, as potentially dangerous by the municipality, the municipal law enforcement officer. Does any member of the council have a disclosure of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, what method of notice and when was the notice given for this public hearing?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, notice was sent by mail to interested parties and the appellant, and also emailed to the appellant on February 17th, 2026.
Have you received any written submissions on the designation?
Mr. Chair, I have not.
Okay. If the appellant or representative is present, please come forward to provide testimony or introduce evidence. Seeing none, I will now ask the manager of bylaw enforcement to provide testimony or introduce evidence.
Thank you. I won't take too much of your time. I think the information provided in the package provided tonight pretty much covers everything. I'll just give a little bit of quick background on the process we undertook before getting to this point. So the first complaint was received in July of 2025. Since that point, the municipality has received 4 additional complaints of similar nature. These complaints were investigated with various levels of enforcement being conducted, ranging from step 1 of education, reminding the owner of the rules regarding dogs at large, and then ultimately culminating in a designation here tonight following charges being laid for failing to comply with those rules. So we've taken each complaint seriously and kind of started with an educational approach and moved forward up until we got to this point. I will note, as I did in my report, that each individual event may not have been enough to warrant a designation on its own. The reason we got to this point here tonight is because of the accumulation of similar events with little to no corrective action being taken by the owner. So apart from that, I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Okay, thank you, Curtis. Does council have any questions? Councilor Watson?
Yeah, through you, Chair, to Curtis. So that the first time was July 25th, and then there was 4 more. So is that a total of 5 occurrences then?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, that's correct.
Any other questions? Councilor Connors?
Through you, Chair, to Curtis. Curtis, during the process, have you noticed any difference in the dog's behavior? Obviously, you know, the obvious answer is no, but I'm wondering if the owner paid any heed to what you were talking to him about and with the fines, et cetera, and did the situation improve in your mind at all?
Through you, Chair, to Councillor Connors. Based on my interactions with the dog owner, I didn't personally see any improvement from the owner from the beginning of the education process to the point where we issued a designation. I think that's clear through just the number of complaints that we've received throughout the process, where after each step, nothing really appeared to change.
Councilor Bachman?
Thank you, Curtis. Reading through, you've definitely illustrated the issue. I'm just wondering what the corrective actions are going to be moving forward.
Through you, Chair, to Councillor Bachman, as per the bylaw, if the designation is upheld, the requirements would be the dog would have to be muzzled anytime it's off property. It needs to be in a contained fenced-in yard anytime it is outside the residence. And then a $1 million insurance policy would need to be obtained by the owner going forward. The difficulty with that is those things should have already been being followed. And as stated in the report, we have had another complaint since the issue of the designation where the owner was subsequently charged with failing to comply with a control order. So I can't guarantee that those things will happen immediately. Ultimately, we could end up with bigger charges and potentially in a court hearing down the street if those requirements aren't followed.
Councilor Bachman?
So if the owner continues to ignore your recommendations, it's going to escalate to a more serious, what would the next serious step be?
So with the designation, if the requirements aren't followed, we can charge them again with failing to comply with a control order, which we've done once already. The next step after that, if we continue to have issues, is we would have to end up summoning them to provincial court.
Any other questions? Appreciate your diligence on this one, Curtis. Now that all evidence has been heard, any parties may provide closing statements, submissions that are limited to 5 minutes. I don't think we have to do that part. And hi. We can't? Okay.
Okay, hi, sorry.
there's-
I wrote
hi.
to David Connors today.
Can I interrupt for a sec?
yeah.
We're limited just to Curtis speaking and the owner of the dog.
Oh, not parties
No,
affected?
Not parties.
Okay,
Yeah,
Curtis
sorry.
told us before we were allowed to speak today in
I-
writing.
Yeah, the notice specifies, no, it's just for the owner of the dog and for Curtis. That's our procedure
Okay.
for today. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Is council prepared to make a decision? Councillor Griffin.
Thank you. Through you, before we do make a decision, was the communication that was received today anything that's not in this report that the rest of us should be aware of?
I don't have an answer for that. Dave? Councillor Connors?
Through you, Chair, to Councillor Griffin, it was another incident that had happened last year. And the lady had described an incident that where the dog was uncontrolled again. And unfortunately, not too many good things happened because of it. I've spoken to 4 different individuals on this particular dog. And, as a dog owner, there's really no bad dogs. There's owners that don't train and owners that don't take care of their dogs. And, it's unfortunate what has to happen or what's going to happen to the dog, but I don't know that there's any other choice.
Councillor Griffin?
Through you then, Mr. Chair, councillors do have an obligation to informed decision-making. If none of this is on paper, could we ask that the incident be described to us?
What's her? I'll just speak to that. At this time, the committee is making a decision on the information that's been provided up to this point. Councillor Watson?
Through you, Chair, if the owner of the dog's not even here to defend its dog, I think we can move forward with the first motion to designate the dog as a dangerous dog. I'm fine with that right now.
Council prepared to make a decision? Seconder? Councillor Griffin? And all those in favor? Motion is carried. Everyone has been given a fair opportunity to be heard. If there are no further questions, council, oh, sorry, we did that part. Okay, we're done. Thank you. Welcome to the regular meeting of Municipality of Central Elgin. Today is March 9th. Please join me in the singing of our national anthem. Thank you. The Municipality of Central Elgin acknowledges that it's located on the lands of the McKee Treaty that were signed by the Wyandot and Anishinaabe nations, including ancestors of Chippewa of the Thames First Nations. It is also the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, Attawandarock, and Mississauga nations. These First Nations continue to provide ongoing stewardship of the land and waters in the Municipality of Central Elgin. At this time, we'll remind Council of disclosures of pecuniary interest. And seeing none, move to the adoption of the previous meeting's minutes. Councillor Watson, Councillor Bachman.
Deputy Mayor Noble, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Watson, seconded by Councillor Bachman, that the minutes for the regular meeting of council dated February 9th, 2026, and special meeting of council dated February 23rd, 2026 be adopted.
Any comments or omissions or seeing none? All in favor? Motion carries. And next we have delegations, asset management plan, presentation by Andrea. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Deputy Mayor, members of council, staff. My name is Andrea. I'm here from Municipal View Consulting. I'm joined by my colleague, Zach Francisco. Not the first time we've met. We did a workshop way back in September, and we're here with the final asset management plan to bring forward to council. and present some of the highlights of that plan today. That's also in your agenda package. Next slide, please. Brief reminder, this is really your first full comprehensive asset management plan. You've had some versions in the past. This new plan is a full scope asset management plan, includes all of the municipal assets and covers the levels of service that you are proposing to achieve in the next 10 years. So this would bring you, with its approval today, in full compliance with the regulation and give you a plan that you can use for the next 10 years in alignment with your fiscal plans and your growth and service improvement plans to bring you forward for the next 10 years. Next slide, please. Just a quick reminder, we're talking here about assets, but we're really, the focus of the plan that you'll see in your package is about services. That's really why we're here, why we exist, what the community cares about. So the focus is about tying the services you're striving to achieve, the assets you need to own and manage to provide those services, and then what that forecast of those asset needs in the next 10 years looks like. Next slide, please. Approval of the AMP today, short form, sorry, the asset management plan today is an important point for council, but it's more than just checking a compliance box. We want to make sure that it's understood by the members of council that really, maybe most importantly, it keeps you eligible for additional provincial and federal funding. So both Canada and Ontario have adjusted some of their funding applications to request that either you attach a compliant asset management plan or you confirm that you have one that complies with the regulation. So with the approval tonight, you will have that in compliance and be able to continue to be eligible for that funding. It's a way of showing how you're taking care of this very large asset portfolio you have. It is not prescriptive. It's not a plan that staff will open and say, okay, this will tell me how to care for our roads and our street lights and our fleet and so on. It's the reverse. Staff have spent much time with David and Jeff and the additional staff bringing that input from staff into the plan. So it's a showcase for the public and for you and all to use to see how that caretaking works and how this translates into a plan forward. It's an important document to open and keep open when you are thinking about budget, coming budget, capital budget, operating, and into future years. So you want to have it, ideally, I'd love it when I see clients have sticky notes and dog-eared pages on their asset management plan because some of the concepts connect. You want to see master planning, budget planning, and asset management planning sync up. You want to see that you're reading from the same song sheet, if you will. So approval today isn't approving anything fiscally. It's approving the concepts and the strategies that then staff can take forward and embed those into future master planning exercises and into the coming budgets. It keeps you accountable to the public, of course, and shows the good work that you're already doing and the work that is still to be done. And yeah, the compliance box is a really important one for the county or for the municipality tonight. Next slide, please. It is a lot of pages, so we just gave you a highlight of some of the key chapters. The executive summary, I hope, is worth the read. That really takes you highlights through the highlights of the whole thing. It has some introduction in chapters 1 to 3, telling you about some of the methodology and assumptions that went into it. And then you have a good current state in section 4. It's a great pull-out chapter to see where are we right now? What do we own? What state is this in? What kind of service levels are we providing? There's a financial outlook, which is probably what David's most interested in, section 5, that really talks about the numbers and the dollars and cents and the way forward, the options that council might have going forward in terms of how to address the infrastructure needs. Some really important recommendations in section 6 we don't want you to lose sight of because the work begins now. It's not done. We don't want the plan to be finished. We'd like you to open it, use it, and keep working on some of those recommendations. And then the rest is your chapters 7 to 16 are all the deep dives on all of the asset service areas that you've got. Lots of good stuff to read in there. Next slide, please. Quick snapshot right from the plan. You own $753 million worth of very important assets. And you can see in the pie chart there how they're divided up. This is replacement value. So this is if you were to need to replace today a unit in fleet or a building or a storm pipe or a section of road, this would be the cost to replace these items. And it's helpful to see where you've got the biggest value, but sometimes even the smaller value service areas have needs as well. You don't want to forget them, so it's a great snapshot. Next slide, please. Similarly, there is a summary in the asset management plan about condition. Asset condition is one very important indicator, but not the only one. So we do tend to spend a lot of time on condition, in a large part indicated by age. Although as you mature and develop your asset practices, condition can be measured. Condition can be from inspections, condition can be from calculation, or condition can really, or you can also start looking at performance. So for now, we started with what you knew and what you had the best data for, and your condition profiles shown in the pie chart there. So there's a fair amount of homework to do on unknown, meaning you don't really know how old the asset is, or you don't have a measure of condition. This is not unusual. It's a reasonably small pie chart or pie slice compared to what we've seen. And you have a great amount, $212 million in very good condition, and so on. And the condition categories are described down below. So you can see it's really about loosely describing, is it newer and ready to go versus aging all the way down to being in poor condition, meaning it has exceeded its service life, to very poor, meaning it is well beyond its service life. Those are more technically defined within the asset management plan. But for understanding today, you're really shooting for the dark green, the light green, and the yellow. That's really the ideal state. Totally acceptable to have lots of assets in the yellow and green. You want to avoid having too many starting to cross into the orange and red category. Next slide, please. Some key takeaways that are also repeated. There's much more in there, but important to note, transportation assets are your biggest piece of the portfolio at almost $300 million. Mostly in fair to good condition. And remember, these are averages. So for every road that is full of potholes and in rough shape in one end of town, if there's a new stretch of road, then that average brings you to the middle. So it's something to keep mind of. But you've got mostly in fair to good condition. Average road age is about 18 years. We use generally a 60-year service life for roads, but the details are in the plan as well. And you'll see some of the other key points about facilities, about water. You've got some mixed age profiles there, some renewal that's been happening. And you start to see over time that the continued investment that the municipality makes starts to show. These numbers start to reflect that pie chart and that condition information is on an upward trend, looking good. Next slide, please. So a very quick summary of some of the financials here in the table summarizes the need. The need being taking all of these assets as they are in the condition they are today and aging them or forecasting how their condition might decline in the next 10 years. What investment is needed to either replace those assets when needed or rehabilitate those assets? And on top of that, what is needed for growth? And on top of that, what is needed for service improvements? Things like additional trails or new sidewalk in areas that doesn't have sidewalks. So those we call service improvements. So lumping all of those asset needs together, we came out with a breakdown for both your tax and rate assets. In total, it's about $16.7 million per year in capital investment to reach the proposed levels of service that are described in the plan. And those are to hold your state of good repair steady where it is now, not let things get worse, and continue with all of the planned investments in growth and in your service improvements from your master plans. So taking that into account, it roughly for the next 10 years on average annualizes to about 16.7 million. So naturally, the next question is, how are we doing against that need? Everybody has those fresh budget numbers in their heads. 2026 is about 12 million, so you're just a few million short on the average annual need. We put in the slide that if we tend to look a little further back, just because budgets change, if we go by your average spend since 2020, then your average has been about almost $10 million a year. So it's a little bit less, but you're trending in the right direction. The $12 million from 2026 is showing a trend in the positive direction. And that shortfall or gap between what's needed and what you have, hopefully will continue to get smaller. Next slide, please. The recommendation section, it's worth a read. Staff will spend some time in there. There's really 6 core recommendations of what to do going forward until your next asset management plan comes due, which would be in 5 years. But looking at making sure you're keeping up with connecting these dots. That's probably what the most important one is, the asset management plan to budget to master planning, that it's always top of mind. We talk a little bit about levels of service, being cognizant of those when master plans are being improved, financial recommendations, improving some of your asset data, continuing to mature that so that you have access to the data and the data itself is maturing. You're getting more condition information and performance information. And some recommendations about your people, about developing the skills and the staff to keep this information current and keep it going forward. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Do we open this to questions? Is there any questions for Andrea? Councillor Griffin.
Thank you, through you, just a couple. This first one is about a tiny inaccuracy that I noticed, and I think that it's probably negligible in the long run. Like, we're looking at $750 million in assets. And I noticed that there was something that was listed in section 2.5 through public consultation as an asset of ours, but it was in error. It was because the public assumed it to belong to us, and it does not. And that was the Edward Street staircase situation. And that had me wondering, are there any sort of fail-safes that you use to try and differentiate between the things assumed by the public to be assets and the things that are true assets of the municipality? And especially for larger assets, because obviously this would be a drop in the bucket, but others might not be.
Thank you. Through you, Deputy Mayor. The data that we use, we rely on the asset data that is maintained by staff. So we do also in the asset management plan consider the public input that has been gathered through other engagement exercises. We didn't have time to do public engagement this time, so I'm not certain if maybe we were quoting there was some public input about concern with that asset, but you can rest assured that really what's on the municipal books is strictly what is considered in this asset management plan.
Thank you. Councillor Griffin.
Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. And the next question is about the ongoing asset management planning. So I know that we have to do an update every 5 years, and that you've recommended that there should be yearly adjustments based on any changes that are coming in. Right now, our upper tier is anticipating road rationalization, and it's likely that we are going to be taking on over the course of a number of years, several county roads for our own management. Obviously, they'll have an asset management plan of their own, but is there at this point a recommended protocol for how we adopt the part of their asset management plan into ours, and how we figure out what needs to come with that for us for its care?
Andrea?
Not the first time that we've assisted with clients that are going through that transition. There is a reliable sequence to, first of all, start with the understanding the scope of their asset management plan and the assumptions that went behind it, and then pulling what is of the most value and the assumptions that make sense into your umbrella. So yes, that has to be done as that becomes official. And there's a lot of prep work that can be done in advance, but these are long-term plans. So if you assume those responsibilities, but the plan takes a little bit to catch up, it's most important about the baton pass, getting the people communicating about what went into the assumptions of one to the other. And then that would fold into your asset management plan for sure.
Thank you. Councillor Graham, you had a question?
I did. So just looking at the 83% SOGR, and if we have $753 million worth of assets, and we have an unknown value of 93.7 million of those assets, was that, I think it's like 12%, maybe 12.5%, somewhere around there if my brain gets that right now. Did you remove that to come up with the 83% that are in a state of good repair, or was it on one side or the other side, or how did that calculation work?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, yes. So I looked over to Zach because he knows the numbers inside and out. Rather than portray an inflated number, we don't know what the state of those unknown assets is, but of the assets that you have the data for and you're familiar with, it was 83% by value of those assets that are in a state of good repair.
Okay, so that $93.7 million of assets were removed from any calculations then, when we're looking at your calculations?
Through you, Deputy Mayor, not removed entirely, just really in that picture of showing you condition. So we do, because we know the value of those assets, they continue to be included. It's just that condition profile. It's not.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Don?
Do you find many municipalities now are providing links on their staff reports back to the asset management plan so that everything ties together?
Also on the on staff reports, talking about how this particular request in the report links back or aligns with or doesn't align with also the policy. So the asset management policy, the asset management plan, but it's a great practice to link budget, business cases, staff reports. The more vocabulary that's used in the asset management plan, the better.
Any other questions? Seeing none, well, thank you, Andrea. Appreciate the report. Moving on to correspondence requiring action. County of Elgin Joint Accessibility Status Report for 2025. Any questions or comments on that? Can I get a mover and seconder to approve? Councillor Connors, Councillor Bachman.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Connors, seconded by Councillor Bachman, the 2025 Joint Annual Accessibility Status Report be received for information.
All in favor? Motion carries. And Ministry of Transportation, notice of study commencement for number 3 highway. Mover and seconder. Councillor Graham, or Councillor Griffin, Councillor Watson. Questions or comments? Seeing none.
Deputy Mayor Noble, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Griffin, seconded by Councillor Watson, that correspondence item number 1 be received for information.
All in favor? Motion carries. And reports, Director of Planning and Engineering Services, DPE 1226, application for zoning bylaw amendment. Is somebody speaking to this one or? No? Okay. Oh,
Thank you. This is just a quick, this is a decision report and follow-up to the public meeting that was held for the same application on February 9th. So this report has the recommendations for council for a decision on the zoning bylaw amendment itself.
okay, thank you. Mover and seconder? Councillor Connors, Councillor Bachman? Any questions or comments? All in favor? Motion carries. And DPE 1526, Building Department Fees Public Meeting. Mover and seconder? Councillor Griffin, Councillor Watson? Any questions or comments on this? Mayor Sloan?
Thank you, through the Deputy Mayor. I realize there's 21 days notice. The question is, at what point we go to the public and we tell them already what fees we're looking at increasing, and then we come back to council? I just want some more information, please.
Okay. Mr. Brooks?
Through you, Mr. Chair. The intent would be to hold the public meeting prior to the council meeting in April. So that public meeting would take place, and then staff anticipate bringing a report forward recommending those fees. So council would be able to either approve the fees at that meeting in April or defer of that report to a future meeting if there are any changes that council would like to see addressed through that building fee report.
Okay, thank you. Follow up, Mayor Sloan?
Thank you, through the Deputy Mayor to Mr. Brooks. So at the open house, per se, we're going to be telling the people we're going to be increasing fees and asking just for feedback. We're not going to be giving set fees at that point. Thank you.
Mr. Brooks?
The report will be released prior to the meeting. It won't be an open house style meeting. The consultant will actually come in and do a presentation to council. The public will be invited to that public meeting and be able to provide comment at the meeting for council's consideration.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions?
Deputy Mayor Noble, the motion for that is moved by Councillor Griffin, seconded by Councillor Watson, that staff be directed to issue 21 days notice of a building fees public meeting to be held on April 13th, 2026.
All in favor? Motion carries. DPE 1626, Powers Drain Petition for Drainage Works. Mover and seconder. Councillor Watson, Councillor Connors. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Deputy Mayor, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Watson, seconded by Councillor Connors, that the drainage works proceed as described in the petitions received from K&R Davis Farm Limited, the Foster Matthews Farm, Sarah Hughes, and Alan Taylor, and that Brandon Widner, P.Eng of Spreed Associates Limited be appointed to prepare a report under Section 4, in addition to the previous appointment under Section 78(1)(1) of the Drainage Act for the Powers Drain.
All in favor? Motion carries. DPE 1726, award for proposal CE 2026-30, breakwater extension municipal class environmental assessment. Mover and seconder. Councillor Bachman, Councillor Griffin, questions? Mayor Sloan?
Thank you, through the Deputy Mayor to Mr. Brooks. A couple of questions. One, it looks like when it talks about the three engineering consulting firms, Riggs, Delta, and Shore Plan, with whom we've all dealt. Couple of things. Sometimes when we get a proposal like this, it will have what the other bids were. So it's a twofold question. One, is that information available? And B, when it comes to the matrix of how the submissions worked, I just want to be comfortable in understanding, it looks like there were more pieces to this than just the financial. So could you give me a little bit of an understanding of how this, the cumulative score was found? Thank you.
Mr. Brooks?
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, there's, these proposals are scored utilizing a 2-envelope process. So what that means is staff will open the technical envelope first and provide a score based on the technical aspects of the proposal. So it will look at things like the project team, the project manager, project experience, the technical proposal of the proposal itself. Staff will then, so for each consultant that makes a submission, a score is provided for each consultant. Once that technical information is scored, the second envelope is opened with the cost of the project. So you combine the cost of the project with the technical evaluation to score a winner on this one. My understanding of the scoring of the technical proposals were all fairly close, and ultimately it was the cost that dictated the winning score on this one. Now, typically, the municipality does not make public all of the costs, only makes public the winning proposal.
Thank you. Follow-up, Mayor Sloan?
Thanks very much to the Deputy Mayor. Thanks very much, Mr. Brooks, for the clarification. When we first came into office, there was the infamous Front Street project, which laid out 3 different prices. When we're doing what's called a 2-envelope system, is that a change in policy? Is that something new, or is that just pertaining to this file? That's my question. Thank you.
Mr. Brooks?
There are 2 typical processes that the municipality utilizes to procure services, one being a tender process, and that's the process that the Front Street process followed. We have a detailed scope of work that we have contractors price, and we go strictly by price in a tendering situation. With a project such as this, it's a fairly complex project, and the intent of the municipal class EA is to determine the best solution for the problem that's been identified. In this case, when we're talking about the breakwater extension, we're talking about solving the problem of the flood uprush through the harbor. So we don't have a detailed set of specifications in this instance. That's where we try and define what the problem is, and we have proposals submitted to identify what the problems are and potential solutions. So that's when we go to this kind of 2-step proposal process.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? Councillor Connors.
Through you, Deputy Mayor, to Mr. Brooks. So in a tender situation, we would publish the amounts of the other bidders, but this is more RFP. Is that why we're not publishing? Because we might want to know what the other consultants bid on it? I mean, is it because of this is an RFP? Is that why?
And typically, just with these RFPs, we don't release those other prices. We only release the price of the winning bid. Now, that might be a question better geared toward our procurement coordinator rather than myself, but just typical past practice, we only release the winning bid on a proposal. Tenders, a tender is done through a public process. All the final costs of a tender are posted on what we would use as bids and tenders, so all the contractors can see what each individual bid were on a tendering project.
John, you have some information?
Just generally, RFPs will have some protections built into them for any proprietary information. So, and I'm not sure if that was the case here, but I've seen where RFPs are protected from releasing some information just for that specific reason.
Is some of this too because it was like a design build where they were giving information on how that project was going to unfold? Mr. Brooks? No? Yes?
This one isn't a design build. It's really just a class environmental assessment. So what it'll do is, like I said, consider what the problem is, and it'll provide a number of different alternatives that the municipality can consider and provide a preferred alternative, taking into account a number of different factors such as cost, environmental impacts, social impacts, that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Great. Are we ready for the question?
Deputy Mayor Noble, through you to council, the motion for that would be moved by Councillor Bogman, seconded by Councillor Griffin, that the proposal submitted by Delta Science and Engineering, Inc. for the Breakwater Extension Municipal Class Environmental Assessment Project be accepted for the total cost of $249,993, excluding HST, that the Director of Corporate Services and Treasurer be authorized to redistribute $500 from the tax-funded portion of capital project number 2026-29 to project number 2026-30 to provide additional funding for the overspend to budget, and that the mayor and clerk be authorized to execute the contract.
All in favor? Motion carries. Director of Financial Services, Treasurer, DCS 0226, Municipality of Central Elgin Asset Management Plan. Mover and seconder for this. Councillor Griffin, Councillor Bachman. Questions? No questions? All right.
Deputy Mayor Noble, the motion for that is moved by Councillor Griffin, seconded by Councillor Bogman, that the Municipality of Central Elgin Asset Management Plan dated November 2025 be adopted.
All in favor? Motion carries. And DCS 0326, Statement of Council Remuneration and Expense. Mover and seconder. Councillor Connors, Councillor Watson. Questions? Being none?
Deputy Mayor Noble, the motion reads, moved by Councillor Connors, seconded by Councillor Watson, that report DFS 226, 2025 Statement of Remuneration and Expenses for Council Members be received for information.
All in favor? Motion carries. Director of Fire Rescue Service, Fire Chief, FS 0126, Open Air Burn Bylaw. Mover and seconder. Councillor Connors, Councillor Griffin. Questions or comments? Mayor Sloan?
Thank you. Through the Deputy Mayor to the Chief. Chief, we've been doing these for some time, and people call in and ask for their, say that they're having a fire. Tell me a little bit about what's going to be needed now with respect to, will there be any extra staffing required or diligence required? I just want to give it as we're changing something, I don't think it's been changed in a while. I just want to get an understanding for the end user, how it will affect them and what the effect to the council will be, or the municipality, with respect to any potential costs. Thank you.
Through you, Deputy Mayor. So with the new process, we have included an inspection with every open air burn permit. So in the past, people would just call it in, we would instantly issue a permit without any real eyes on the property, on where the burn's happening, location in comparison to buildings, other structures. So we have included an inspection process in the burn permit application process for agricultural burns and for special burns. This is fairly customary in burn permits, especially now in the liability age that we are in. The other component that is in there is they used to be where we would have permits that were approved for 2 to 3 months. We now allow a burn to be open for 1 year. We inspect it. Most of these are agricultural farming properties. We've been approved an area where they can do that burn, where that burn is approved. So that burn permit is open and available for 1 year period. And then there has been a $50 burn permit application fee that's been put on with that. That was added in the fees bylaw this year, the rates and fees bylaw this year, to account for some of that staff time that it takes to process these permits, issue the permits, and do the inspection. So from a corporate risk perspective, the inspection piece is the biggest change, but it does protect us in quite a bit in that sense.
Follow-up, Mayor Sloan?
Thanks. Through the Deputy Mayor, 2 questions. When it comes to protecting us, have we had an issue in the past and that we needed protection on? And B, if an agricultural person is going to phone and they're going to say they've got some leaves to burn, they have to have a permit for $50. They have to have someone from Central Elgin come out. And what do we offer for timing for that? Because right now we have people that are calling looking for it within a certain amount of time. I don't understand how this is going to affect the end user with respect to timing. If you could clarify, please. Thank you.
Yeah, so right now we don't have a set time parameter on our burn permits. So we have some that, based on staff availability, that we can turn around fairly quickly. We have some that take do take some time. We have put timing parameters within the bylaw that within 7 days we'll make sure that that permit is approved and that it's inspected. Right now we're running about a 2-day turnaround on all of our inspections because we now have the fire prevention officer contract in place, so that's helping with that workload.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none.
The motion for that is moved by Councillor Connors, seconded by Councillor Griffin, that bylaw number 2026-21, being a bylaw to regulate and control the setting of fires in the open air and to provide for the prevention of fire, open air burn bylaw, be adopted, and the staff be directed to implement the updated open air burning bylaw, including public communication, website updates, and administrative adjustments necessary to support enforcement and compliance.
All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, next, FS 0226, Fire Rescue Service Annual Report. Mover and seconder. Councillor Connors, Councillor Bachman. Questions? Is the chief? Seeing none.
Deputy Mayor Noble, the motion for that is moved by Councillor Connors, seconded by Councillor Bogman, that report FS 226 regarding the 2025 Central Elgin Fire Rescue Services Annual Report be received for information.
All in favor? Motion carries. Director of Public Works and Community Services, PWCS 0326, request for municipal letter of support, accessible kayak launcher. Mover and seconder. Councillor Griffin. Seconder. Councillor Graham. And anybody speaking to this? No? Okay. Any questions? Seeing none, I'll ask a question. All in favor? Motion carries. And PWCS 0426, Water System Annual Reports. Mover and seconder. Councillor Griffin. Councillor Connors. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. On to bylaws. Are we doing these together? Okay, so bylaw 2026-019, bylaw 2026-021, and bylaw 2025-060. Mover and seconder. Councillor Bachman, Councillor, I'll get Mayor Sloan on there. All in favor? And they carry. And motion to move into closed. Councillor Connors, Councillor Bachman. All in favor? And we are moving to closed. Thank you.